Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Well, oh boy, how about that? That was less than awesome. Welcome, Conrad. Welcome, FU2 and V, as we get to break down what was a big bucket of buttholes as the Oilers end up losing this one in a goaltending battle for the ages against the Carolina Hurricanes. This one sucks. This one sucks big time. I'm Graham Mosimann here with you here on Game Over Edmonton, and we'll dive into all of it and the big sads in just a quick second. But first, I want to tell you about an incredible show. They have a brand new episode that just dropped today here on the Game Over Network. Check out Hyperdrive Hockey. They cover all things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries, whatever it is, and whenever it is. Max, Daphne, and Kev have you all covered with your hockey news with a distinctly French-Canadian take on it. It's a great show. The new episode is out today. It's awesome. You can find it on the Game Over Network YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And you can also find the Hyperdrive Hockey page on the GameOverNetwork.com. So, with that, let's dive into tonight's game, which was a goaltending battle for the ages, really. From the start, I mentioned to my fiance as we were watching the game, I was a little bit worried at how things were looking with Stuart Skinner. He didn't seem to know where his posts were. He was coming across pretty shaky, and I just wasn't feeling awesome about where he was. But he settled down super, super easily. And after a little bit, and after pitching a really nice game, everything looked good. The Oilers almost got too comfortable with how he was playing and started cheating a little bit more than we'd want them to. Hey, Adam, Matt, nice to see you in the chat again. And yeah, 2-4-1, so it's not as bad. But the one thing in this game, this is more of a fan critique. Why in God's great earth are we doing the wave in a one-goal game with 12 minutes left on the clock? I will never tell anyone how to be a fan because those tickets are expensive. You can go to those games and celebrate how you want to, but it looks so stupid to be in crazy fun celebrate mode when this team has had a not great season so far and is firing up the wave with a 1-goal lead. I mean, thankfully, Oilers fans are not the only ones to do this. This is a very, Canadian market kind of thing. Looking at you, Calgary, with your weird choices of when to do the wave. But, that's just a minor gripe on this one. I mean, this game is really, I think, when you kind of boil everything down, Zach Hyman did something to curse the hockey gods because he couldn't score to save his absolute life. That I don't think we've ever seen through Zach Hyman's career, even going back to when he was a Toronto Maple Leaf, when he would have these chances to pot goals, and even if they were pure garbage goals, which is what Zach Hyman does, there's just something. Is he gripping the stick too tight? Is it in his head? Is he just not? Are we looking at bad puck luck? And that's probably the most accurate one. Who can say? I don't know. The overtime definitely did have some odd moments. Adam brings up a great point. My question is, why did McDavid not come back on that last chance? It kind of felt like he was cheating a little bit, wasn't he? Because after they have their great chance to kind of wrap this whole thing up, it ends up not going. So you rush back the other way. Could he have made it? Sebastian Aho was pretty fast. I think Marty Natchez was on the ice for that one as well too. McDavid should be is the fastest player with a puck in hockey, and his straight line speed. You think he could make it? I mean, do you want to maybe say that he had been on for half the overtime already? He had played all of those power plays that just haven't been clicking. That is going to be our big subject for the second period today in Game Over Edmonton. What in the world is happening with the power play? We'll get into that in just a couple minutes here, but ultimately, it sucks that you don't win this one because of how how well the team can play and how well they did play for stretches of it. And it was great to see Stuart Skinner put his game together. Ultimately, when you get to overtime in this era of the NHL, it's so much more of a crapshoot than I think any of us would like to admit it is. Any of those pucks could have gone in any different point. It was what you want from an NHL overtime. It was exciting. It was fun. It was a bit silly and a little bit stupid. Low-key surprised that people weren't doing the wave then. But ultimately, the Oilers lose this one. And they do get a point out of it, and ultimately they still will be fine. I mean, if we want to do some standings looking, we'll take a look at that into the third period of Game Over Edmonton. Also going to dive into just the abject silliness of what was happening in the NHL today. Just a goofy one. If you have any thoughts, feelings, emotions you'd like to get off your chest and discuss in the chat, please do. As we'll be checking in with the chat all show long here on Game Over Edmonton. But before we move on to period number 2, I would like to tell you about another great little thing we have on the go here with Game Over Edmonton and the Game Over Network writ large. We're an independent production company, and we're focused on community inclusion and hiring good people. I'm so lucky. I'm Graham Mosimann, by the way, to be a very tiny cog in the part of this big blob of humans that all makes up the Game Over Network, and we are very much trying to do anything and everything we can to make a dent in Canadian media, so it's not just 3 telecoms in a trench coat handling all of our sports. So we do have crowdfunding options if you'd like to support what we're doing. You can find a link to our Patreon page through GameOverNetwork.com. We're also working on a page through LaRush, so it's a crowdfunding platform for companies originating in Quebec like ours does. And so for LaRush, we're trying to bring up $15,000 through there. And if we hit that goal, we're instantly going to gain access to government grants to allow us to employ more people, bring in different guests more often, upgrade our technical setups, and really kind of grow the company in a big, substantial way. And we'd love to be a part of that and give you something special for doing it as well. If you have any ideas of things you'd like to see from giveaways through these crowdfunding efforts, you can let us know in the comments over on Twitter, Instagram, or on our Discord server, which is available for you to join if you want to come nerd out with us on Discord. The fantasy chat is pretty fun. It gets pretty spicy, I will say. Conrad, if you save it for LaRoche, I will go to a Flames game with a ban the wave sign. I will go to that game with you, and we can just hold hands and hold that sign up together. Can we do that, Conrad? Because I am down. Because god dang it, I'm so tired of the wave at the most inopportune times. People were doing the wave at a playoff game I was at once, and that I found viscerally upsetting. Anyway, on to period number 2 here of Game Over Edmonton. Adamat, just random thought. Man, why is the NHL so screwed? 1 game last night, 16 tonight. We're going to dive into that in period number 3, so stick around for that one because, oh boy, is it getting dumb, and mostly it's Amazon's fault. So let's talk about the Oilers' power play. And Connor McDavid's been in the NHL for 10 years. Leon Draisaitl been in the league for about the same, even though he predates Connor by a year in draft order. Once they figured out that you have the Leon spot, it is a one-timer clapper, basically from the red line, that is such a low percentage shot that teams basically stop defending it, because how many players in the league can hit that shot? Not many at all. But as we've had now successive years, because when that specific play really became unlocked for the Oilers in probably want to say the 2016 run. We got to the second round and played Anaheim and got Ryan Kessler out of a spot. It was probably that's the moment it really became unlocked. And the Oilers have been doing that, or had been doing a variation of that with rotating personnel ever since then. And I think it might be time now to sit these guys down and go, hey, Connor, Leon, you're amazing. You're 2 of the best hockey players on the planet. Connor, you're going to be the captain for Team Canada at the Olympics. You're going to do great. Don't mind my dog Millie, who doesn't realize this is a live show, Miss Ma'am. Are you done? Nope, she's licking her junk. Anyway, you almost have to sit these boys down and go, hello. Yeah, I know you've been good at this. You've been great at this. It's been fun to score your power play cookies, get your little num-nums, and just rack up goals. But teams have figured it out, and they have realized that the almost 0% shot that you're able to score on regularly is the thing you're scoring regularly on. So stop it. Because you know what's going to happen every single time the Oilers come on the power play. And so many teams in the NHL do this. And I'm really hoping this is one of those like coaching things that'll slowly get worked out. Because I'm lucky enough to go to a lot of minor hockey and do some broadcasting stuff for that level. You see the exact same garbage at the minor league level because they're emulating the NHL level where you have your fastest player take a drop pass at the red line and then skate in as quick as he can. And I know people are doing it because they think it's effective, but like, just please, let's have some creativity and try something a little different, especially when you have so many players that are so talented that can move the puck in as well as they can. Making that as your zone entry every single friggin' time you get the puck on the power play is getting redundant and getting old because they get into the zone and then they're going to pass around a little bit, really work the perimeter until you can try to split people up for the Leon Draisaitl one-timer from the right circle. Stop it. Enough. I don't care if you need to take off, maybe even move Ryan Nugent-Hopkins off the power play and put someone on that other side that can also do a one-timer. Maybe you move Bouchard over to play like a little bit more on the other side so he can work his one-timer. But the puck, no matter where it's going, is always going to cycle back to that Leon Draisaitl spot, and I'm so sick of seeing it. It's not working this season, and it's time to get creative and come up with something different. So until that happens, I'm really not really sure what this power play is going to do because teams are going to keep knocking it down. You saw the Hurricanes tonight. Full props to how great they were in using their sticks to knock down passes. Like they, Rob the Bot had them coached in to knock down that play every time they saw it, and they weren't able to get that momentum. And you know, it sucks because Zach Hyman is like the big right-handed power point on the power play, but he's A, snake bitten, and B, plays so close to net to hit that Ryan Smith kind of garbage goal sort of way. If you're a certain era of Canadian hockey or Oilers fan, that'll make a lot of sense. He's in that perfect zone for it, but we don't have that extra one-timer on the other side to try to break things up because the Oilers are so left-handed focused. Do we take Victor Arvidsson maybe and have him move over there? I'm not sure how good his one-timer is. Is it a matter of trying to find someone else to break something up? Adamant's bringing up a great thought here. Why don't we try putting Skinner on the first line and Hyman with Dry on the second power play? That's a great idea. I don't hate it. I don't hate that at all. Just to try something a little bit different because teams know that Connor Leon and Evan Bouchard are going to be on the ice for 2 minutes straight. And then they'll go take a break, and then they'll have a chance to come back and score because our bottom six will have to be on, and our bottom six just patently isn't as good. I would really love to see if you have a line that's set up by Leon, where Leon is more of the passing point as opposed to the shooting point on a second line power play. I think that's absolutely something they need to work out in practice and to try to evaluate and develop a little bit more. You know, let Evan Bouchard get his big boomer of a slap shot on power play 1. Make power play 2 somewhere where, you know, Adam Henrique can start to perform a little bit better. And Victor Arvidsson can try to get something in because Victor Arvidsson, we still haven't seen him really get going. Adam Henrique only has 1 goal on the year. So a lot more focus I think needs to be taken on the power play as this season goes on, and I'm sure it will be. But really frustrating to see what at one point was the, oh boy, I can't wait to see these goals, to go up and have hey, hopefully they won't lose momentum this time, and maybe that'll be okay. Before we dive into the third period and a kind of breakdown of the absolute absurdity of the NHL schedule, I would love to tell you more about just the Game On brand in general. So Game Over Edmonton, we're going to be here, or Game On Edmonton is going to be here every single day of the week. It's a little show. I host it. I also host our national show called Game On Hockey. It's like a 10-minute breakdown of the biggest stories in the sport, like the kind of stuff you want if like you want to come to work or drive home from work and have like little fun conversational pieces to bring up during the game. We're going to get to the biggest stories in hockey in the Game On Hockey show in 10 minutes or less, and on Game On Edmonton, the exact same thing. It'll all be just very focused on the Oilers. And every single one of our Canadian markets has a show like that. Very, very, very fun, worth your time. You can go find it over at thegameovernetwork.com / whatever your city's page is. For us, it would, of course, be Game On Edmonton. And yeah, if you like the show, please let me know. If you don't like the show, hey, let me know, because we're always trying to learn and make things better. If you want to leave us a review on whatever podcast app you're listening for, please do that as well, because that really helps out our algorithm and spreads it out to more and more people. And we're just a little media company, and we're doing our best to try to make some waves across Canadian media. All right, let's dive into the absolute absurdity of the NHL scheduling this week. And a big part of it is Amazon's fault. So Amazon has taken a much bigger handle on NHL broadcasting. I am starting to think that I'm starting to think that Amazon is going to be the next major player in Canadian hockey media. Whether they get the entire broadcasting blob or they just steal a chunk of it away from Rogers, and maybe TSN and Bell comes up with a bigger offer. I think the NHL has seen pretty concretely that, especially down in the States, having multiple companies work on these brands is better for the product writ large. Because especially over this era, since that mega deal was signed with Rogers, a deal that Rogers had their clocks cleaned on, they lost so much money from what they could have done because of how the hockey rights were mismanaged. I'm honestly shocked they don't talk about it more often. In the States, you have ESPN and TNT fighting to make the best broadcast possible, to fight to make their product the most memorable, and it's making them better. You know, you also have those like regional networks like Nesson. You have the FanDuel network that's going to take over now. That I believe just is about to take over tomorrow, or took over today from Bally's. That is also there too. It's just a little bit on the smaller scale. So on the national side, competition is breeding better content. And the content hasn't been great for Rogers in the last couple of years. I don't think that's unfair to say. I mean, they did try some stuff, like trying to emulate ESPN's College Game Day that they have every Saturday by sending Ron McLean out to all these different towns, and like that was expensive and didn't really work like they wanted it to. And when you have Amazon come in and produce such a good product and produce such good content with that show, you get a lot of trust from the league on stuff like that. Now, I would love to hear in the chat if you've watched their Thursday night kind of ice surfing show where it's like the NFL Red Zone. They just like go around the league and check in on different stuff. I do remember Versus. They existed, didn't they? That coming from our pal Conrad. I'm that product, that Thursday night show, definitely needs a little bit of work still. Right now, it's 4 people in the studio talking about whatever they're seeing on TV. Like, you can tell they're trying to do the Manning cast without it having the talent of the Mannings. So I'm not sure if you just need like more Kevin Bieksa, more PK, more players on that one, and more coaches to give you a sight that you can't normally see to make that better. But like, the show's only had like 3 weeks, so it's still in its infancy. They're still figuring it out. Their programming last night, where they have the Monday Night Battle on Amazon Prime, that Leafs and Lightning game was really fun to watch. I'm not sure if you took it in, but they fired up the cameras a whole 45 minutes before the actual game started, so you could watch warm-ups and watch people coming into the arena and get settled. And it was this like almost sort of elevator music kind of thing. It was pretty good. And it was really fun to watch, and the analysis was interesting, and it was focused on the Leafs, which you don't really see a ton either. So it was good, but because of the way it was structured and how Amazon has bought part of these packages away from Rogers, they got that day all of themselves. And it absolutely frigged up the rest of the week, because guess how many games we have tomorrow? One. There is one game on the schedule tomorrow. So for everyone that's hosting Game On in all these different cities we have across Canada, I'm so sorry. It's good. Your new show is going to get a little weird tomorrow. But when it comes to when it comes to trying to find these scheduling quirks, it's just to make people that have purchased on the rights happy, and it sucks because I can't find you a single hockey fan in the world that wants to have one day of one game and then 60 games and then one day of another. We're not going to get back to normal until Thursday. So, it's fine. It is what it is. Hopefully if Amazon picks up these rights, it'll be a lot less wonky, and then we can get a better hockey product like we actually deserve here in this country. Before we move into the overtime and we really, really, really dive into the fan chat here, I would love to tell you all about, as I pull up my ad copy, we got merch. Heck yeah, merch. I would wish I would be wearing some, but I am not. I have not ordered mine in quite yet, and there's no better way to support this company aside from, of course, sharing our stuff, joining us on Patreon, or by rocking some of our merch. We have 3 unique apparel lines, kind of a retro skater design that's super fun. If you're a big fan of goalies, we have one that's like specifically in that zone. If you want new coffee mugs, we have those in there as well, and then we have our original kind of little robot logo that you can buy those as well. And all of that is actually designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg. So if you head over to GameOverNetwork.com, you can find all this stuff there and help support us as we rebuild local media in Canada while also repping your community. As we make our way to the chat, if you have any thoughts about the game or any of the stuff we've talked about, please fire it in there and we will get through it as we go. Our pal Conrad from Game Over and Game On Calgary, what Amazon needs, honestly, to be good, the Sutters. That feels like a very Calgary take, because I'm honestly, I don't want to sit around and watch Daryl Sutter be like, meh, what number is he? Played bad. Wow, Daryl, that's really great analysis. Anything else to say? I love cows. Cows are good. Work hard. Stand up. Good animal. At least Brent Sutter is like slightly more interesting. I can get behind the stream with Brent Sutter. I feel like your mileage on Daryl Sutter goes as far as how much of a Flames and or Kings fan you might be. Because, like, he had his moments of being funny, but I will never forget when he was talking about that player a couple years ago, like right when he got on the team. Conrad, you'll remember his name. I don't as much. But it's when someone asked him about this rookie player, and when asked how his play was, he asked, what number is he? And then he just read his stat line. Like, you have to be just a colossal asshole to treat another human being like that. I know it's these sports, these are big, tough men. But, like, that doesn't mean you have to be a dick. Although Conrad chiming in, I just think it'd be funny hearing him talk about how D-men were like tractors. I mean, yeah, I suppose. Would be an oil. Darnell Nurse, kind of like a 1989 John Deere. It has moments where it runs really, really well, but ultimately you keep dumping money into it and hoping it'll get better, and it never, never does. Jacob Pelletier, that's who we were talking about. Yeah, in Daryl Sutter's post-game rant. That was such a garbage move to do. I was so bummed. Siren B is such a fun game to watch, and yeah, that's the kind of one hand I take on this game too. Like, ultimately we watch hockey because it's fun and sports are fun, and you can't look at this game and say it wasn't fun, but also we friggin' lost again and it's starting to get old. Adamant wondering, when are we going to start worrying about making the playoffs? 2-4-1 is not good. No, it's not. I mean, but this team was also, 2-9-2. I want to say last year before they ripped off that crazy win streak, and this team absolutely has the ability to put together a win streak. Right now, as we take a look at the schedule, I don't have it off the top of my head, but thanks to the power of the internet, we can dive into it. I know our next game is coming up on Friday against the Penguins. I mean, that should be a gimme. The Pittsburgh Penguins are a bad team. Conrad, when's the next jersey throw? Boo, get a better joke. I don't think there'll be one, to be honest. This team would have to implode for that to happen. The Oilers' schedule, the next little chunk, is looking pretty fine. Lose the Hurricanes, no VT today, that blows. The Penguins, there's no way you should lose that game. Playing the Red Wings also in Detroit on Sunday. The Red Wings are trash. Like, I don't even know what's wrong with that team. How Steven Yzerman is still the GM baffles me. That should be a win. Taking on the Blue Jackets after that next day. That's a really short flight. Columbus, they have some moments, but, like, that team is not... They're not going to do anything, I don't think, this year. And then the Predators again on Halloween. And then I think, honestly, our first, like, really big worrisome game on the schedule is... Yeah, I know Columbus won, but I'm still not giving that team a lot of credit. It's the Leafs. The Leafs just turn into a pumpkin whenever they feel like it. The next game I think the Oilers have to really, really, really worry about, and, like, you have to get up for all of these, obviously. It is the NHL. You have to play well. But the next worrying spot in the schedule, I think, is that Sunday nighter against the Calgary Flames at Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary. If the Flames keep cooking like they have been, there's... I'm still not convinced this Flames team is legit at all. I think this goaltending is going to turn on them at some point really, really soon. You meant Detroit won, Conrad, not Columbus. Well, Columbus won too, which is also crazy. I think the Flames are going to come back down to earth a little bit. They're riding a pretty good PDO right now. So puck luck is going their way. And then you do have a really tough stretch going Calgary, New Jersey, Golden Knights, Canucks, who are whiffy, Islanders, and then back to the Preds and the Leafs. Flames are currently losing to the Penguins. So, hey, you know what? Maybe the Flames are starting to come back down to earth and be the team we sort of thought they'd be. Although, wow, I'm full credit to Ryan Huska for pulling something out of that one. So we have a little stretch here. Like, this chunk against the Stars and the Hurricanes was the toughest bit of schedule we're going to get for a little bit. So I think it's fully possible that the Oilers come out of this chunk 6-4-1. 6-4-1. Yeah, I think it's really, really possible. Like, you can put a thing together. Flames are going to win the cup this year. You know what? Somehow I don't believe that, even though the most nihilistic Oilers fan inside me. Yeah, I don't think the Flames are... If the Flames make the playoffs, I'll be gobsmacked. But we'll see how it all goes. I think that'll wrap us up here, as we'll do one final run of the chat. As Conrad is correct, you are riding the PDO bender, which is what the Flames are doing. The Oilers are running the opposite, where our puck luck is atrocious, and eventually you will have a regression to the mean, and this team will start performing and having things show up on the board like they properly should. So that'll wrap us up here, I think, for Game Over Edmonton. Our very next show is going to be coming up on Friday with the Pittsburgh Penguins. That one hosted by Austin Hockey. I'm not sure if you had a chance to check out Austin's shows. Dude has this great way of, like, sneaking in these absolutely, like, brilliant takes in, like, wrapped up in a cookie of somewhat unhinged Oiler fan. So you got your Oreo outside of we are all insane and we are losing it, and then these just, like, brilliant takes, like, mixed in. Austin's shows are so good, and he's going to have a really, really great one coming up on Friday as the Oilers take on the Pittsburgh Penguins in their next game on the schedule. Adam, you get the final word today. Going to be Flames versus Leafs in the finals. Oh, God, who would you cheer for? Is that the moment that you hope Y2K finally happens? Or the dinosaur comet shows up? It might be. Although, cards to the table, like I did live in Calgary for a very, very big chunk of my life. I actually have I don't know if you can see, if you're watching in the YouTube, over my shoulder, there's a Calgary Hitman hat that I got at one of my last Hitman games before I moved away from Calgary. So, like, I still have a big soft spot in the heart for that city. NHL is better when the Flames and Oilers are good, and the Oilers will get there, and the Flames, I hope, will get there at some point. But we're going to call it there, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us here on this episode of Game Over Edmonton. Oilers lose this one in overtime, but pick up the all-important Gary Bettman overtime point. Ooh, baby. Anyway, have yourself a great week. The Oilers back at it on Friday. We will talk tomorrow on Game On Edmonton, your daily podcast to get you all caught up on the world of the Oilers in 10 minutes.